the power had been flickering all day. Storm outside, thunder low and distant. My grandma had passed 2 weeks earlier, and I had just returned from clearing out her house. Shed left me an old carved box. Inside were trinkets, a dusty journal, and a single candle. It wasn't fancy, just a thick, deep, violet candle with strange carvings running around. No scent, no brand, no wick at first glance, but when I held it under the light, I saw the wick hidden in the swirl of wax. The journal had a note folded inside it, one sentence in my grandma's handwriting. Light it once, only once, and never blow it out. I thought it was poetic, or maybe she meant it symbolically. She was a bit eccentric, always into strange books, tea leaves, and antique things. Still, something about that message stuck with me. That night the power went out completely. My phone was at 3, no torch, so I remembered the candle. I placed it on the coffee table, struck a match, and lit it. The flame bloomed gently, soft and low. It didn't flicker, it didn't even make that little popping sound other candles do. Just burned steady, almost too steady at first. I didn't notice anything strange. I read for a bit, the soft light calming me. The storm echoed outside, and I even dozed off on the couch. When I woke up, the room was darker, colder. I checked the time. 11:22 p.m. I looked at the candle, and I froze. It was taller, not a lot, but definitely taller than when I lit it. Rubbed my eyes, no way. I must be remembered wrong. I checked again. It looked new, no melted wax at the base. In fact, wax was dripping upward, curling back into the candle's body. I got a sudden chill in my spine. The kind of chill you don't get from the cold. I stood and reached for the candle butt. The moment I got close, the flame brightened, like it knew. Like it didn't want to be touched. I backed away. I tried to distract myself. Phone was dead, so I sat quietly watching. At 12:06 a.m., something moved in the corner just outside the circle of candlelight. I turned sharply, nothing, but when I turned back to the candle, it was burning backward. The flame was pointing down, now flickering beneath the wick, which grew longer instead of shorter. I whispered, "This isn't normal," and something whispered back, "Nothing here." The voice didn't come from outside, it came from inside me, in my own voice. Like my thoughts had echoed back wrong. I stood and looked at the door locked. I looked at the window. Rain blurred the glass, but behind it, I saw something, a figure standing, no face, just blackness, not looking in, looking at the candle, and the candle pulsed. For a moment the flame changed shape into a mouth, screaming silently. I grabbed the nearest cloth and tried to snuff it out, but the flame passed through the fabric like air. I poured water on it. Nothing. I shouted, cursed, cried, still burning, still reverse. By 12:59 the flame had inverted completely now. Glowing from the bottom of the candle, wax flowed up the sides, swirling like mist, and then I saw the furniture move, not slide, rewind. The coffee table backed up. The book I had raised itself and floated gently back to the shelf. My body trembled. The candle was undoing time, or replacing it, my reflection. In the window wasn't me anymore. It stood differently. Its eyes blinked out of sync. It smiled when I didn't. I don't remember how the night ended. I woke up in my bed. Sunlight outside, the candle was gone, or maybe never there, but the box remained empty. Now no wax, no note, no flame, just dust. I tried to forget, but now every night at 10:30, I hear a soft pop, like a match being lit, and my room smells faintly of wax. One night, I saw the flame again, just a glow behind my closet door. It whispered, "You blew me out, now I burn in you." I think the candle is inside me now. I forget hours, days, my memory rewinds, my words speak themselves. Sometimes my voice echoes a second too late, and last night in the mirror, I saw wax dripping from my ears. If you find A candle with no scent, no label, and carvings like reversed runes. Don't light it, don't keep it, and whatever you do, don't let it burn backward. It started as a game, a late-night sleepover between three friends, myself, Alina, and Zara. We were close, bored, and buried in a stack of old occult books Alina had bought from a flea market. Most of the stuff was fake drawings, herbs, strange riddles, but one page stood out. It was handwritten with a title that read the name before sleep. It claimed that chanting a person's name 3 times before sleep would bind them to your dreams. Do it, Zara laughed. Say my name and see if you dream of me, I rolled my eyes, but Alina was already fascinated. She always was the curious one, the daring one. She took a deep breath, looked into the mirror, and softly whispered, Azariel, Azariel, Azariel. I froze. Who's Azariel? I asked. She looked confused. I don't know. It just came out. Zara stared at her. You said the wrong name. Alina laughed it off. Maybe it's just a name from the book. It's not real, but I felt something shift in the room, like the air held its breath. That night, Alina was the first to fall asleep. She curled up under a blanket on the couch. Zara and I stayed up still, talking and giggling. At around 2:30 a.m., Alina sat up suddenly. Her eyes were open, but her face was blank. I whispered, Hey, you okay? She didn't answer. Instead, she looked straight ahead and said, He smiled at me. Hay's coming. Then she laid back down. The next morning, she didn't remember it. Not the chanting, not the name, not even waking up. She seemed fine but distracted. Zara and I both brushed it off. Just sleep talking, but that night things got worse. Alina texted me around midnight, can't sleep. Hayes standing at the end of my bed. I replied instantly, who? No answer. 10 minutes later, she sent a voice message. I listened, nothing but static, then a soft whisper, almost too quiet to hear. You said it wrong. We rushed to her apartment. She didn't answer the door. When we finally broke in, we found her in the corner of the room, curled up, trembling. There was wax all over her floor. Dozens of melted candles, symbols drawn in chalk. A mirror shattered. She didn't say anything, just kept repeating, Hayes not in the dream anymore. Hayes awake. The following week was chaos. Alina stopped sleeping. Her eyes were always wide. She said every time she blinked she could see Azrael's face. She described it in fragments. No lips, just teeth. Eyes that don't blink, fingers longer than arms. And a voice that sounds like your own, echoing from far away. She tried to burn the book, but it wouldn't catch fire. She tried to tear the page out, but the page was gone. Only the empty space remained, like it had never existed. Zara started seeing him next. One night, she called me crying. I didn't chant anything, but he smiled at me in the bathroom mirror. We realized then Alina had summoned him, but the ritual linked all of us. We were next. I tried to stay awake. Days passed, but sleep comes for everyone eventually, and in my dream there was no world, only black. And a sound like breathing inside my own head. Then I heard it say it again, say it right. This time I woke up screaming, blood from my nose, the sheets soaked in sweat. I called Alina. No answer. I rushed over. The apartment door was wide open, candles lit on their own. All the windows covered in black cloth. In the center of the room, her phone lay on the floor, still recording. The last thing she filmed, her staring at the mirror, whispering, Azariel, 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 and the mirror smiled back. We never found Alina after that. No missing person report helped, no trace. Zara couldn't take it. She left the city, deleted all contact. I haven't heard from her since. As for me, I moved, changed everything, but still every night, at 3:00 a.m., I hear footsteps outside my bedroom, and once a week, my mirror fogs up, even when there's no heat, no shower. No reason, a word appears in the fog, almost mine. If you find an old ritual that tells you to chant a name before sleep, don't say a name you don't know. And never say it 3 times, because not all names belong to the living, and not all dreams end when you wake up. They said the prayer protects you only if you say it fully, every word, every line, in the right order at the right time. I missed one Lineth last one. It was only 5 words, but those 5 words kept the thing out. Now it knows, I forgot. And it's already inside. I learned the prayer from my grandmother. She used to whisper it every night before bed, a soft chant in a language older than Latin. She never taught me what it meant, only how to say it. You must say it when the air feels still, she told me once, when even the wind is afraid to move. I thought it was superstition, something harmless, a way for her to feel safe from her childhood village fears. But she always warned, never forget the last line. She would never tell me why. After she passed away, I stopped saying it. Nothing happened. Weeks went by, then months, until one night late autumn I was walking home from work. The street was unusually quiet. No wind, no cars, no dogs barking, just silence, like the world was waiting. Then I felt it, that strange pressure in the air, like I was being watched, but not from behind. From below I heard something like a whisper through the pavement. I couldn't make out the words, but they sounded familiar. I rushed home at 2:48 a.m. I woke up in a cold sweat. The windows were closed, the doors locked, but my room was freezing. I saw my breath, and then I saw the shadow, not mine. It moved across the wall, slowly crawling. Even though nothing was moving, I remembered the prayer. Fumbling, I whispered the words, just like Grandma taught me, line by line, almost there. Then my mind blanked. The last line I couldn't remember. It was there seconds ago. Now it was gone. The room fell silent again, utter stillness. Then I heard breathing from the closet, but when I opened the door, nothing. Only my old clothes, shoes, dust. But then the air behind me shifted. My bedroom door creaked open on its own. I grabbed my phone, tried to record it, thinking ID, prove it was just in my head, but the screen flickered, then turned black. Then words appear typed on their own. You left the door open. The next day I searched everywhere for the missing line. Books, online forums, even contacted a folklore professor at the university. No luck. The prayer didn't exists anywhere publicly, just fragments. Everyone I spoke to told me the same thing. Old protection prayers must be complete. If you don't seal it, it leaks. One even asked me, have you felt the scratching yet? That night, the scratching began. It came from the walls, then the floor, then under my bed. But every time I looked, nothing was there, until I checked the mirror behind my reflection. Something stood. Tall, thin, its face wrapped in gauze, dripping something black from its eyes. It didn't move. But it was getting closer every night. Each night after that I tried saying the prayer again, over and over, trying to guess the last line. I tried combinations, I begged, I cried, but the more I failed, the more it came into focus. Now it whispers to me in my sleep, repeating the prayer, but with its ending not the one Grandma taught. Let the gate stay open so I may come home. I started losing time, waking up in places I didn't sleep, finding dirt under my fingernails, ash in my bathtub. One morning I found a line carved on my wall. You said enough. The final straw came last night. I dreamed I was in my grandmother's house. She stood by the fire holding my hand, but her face was burning slow, peeling off like wax. She whispered, say it right, or it stays. I looked down. My hand was holding something wet. When I opened my palm, it was my tongue. I woke up screaming. Blood on my pillow. I didn't bite my tongue. It was fine, but the pillow wasn't mine. It was old, yellowed, stitched in a language I couldn't read. I don't even own it. I think it left the dream. It's in the house now, watching, waiting, and tonight, I feel the stillness again. Even the wind is afraid. If you ever learn an old protection prayer, never forget the last line. It's not just words, it's the lock, and if the lock breaks, it finds you. It started 3 months ago, when Mia moved into my apartment. We'd been friends since college. Her lease ended. I had an extra room. She was quiet, clean, easy to live with, except for one habit. She wore the same dark purple sleep mask every night. Never missed a night. Said she couldn't sleep without it. It keeps the light out, she said, but more than that, it keeps other things out too. I thought she was joking, but the tone in her voice didn't match the smile on her face. Mia had trouble sleeping always. Did shed, toss and turn, sometimes mutter in her sleep. One time, I heard her scream, but by the time I rushed in she was sitting up, breathing heavy. It's fine, she said, just a nightmare. I get them every night. Then came the sleepwalking shed wander. The hall's open and closed doors. Once I found her standing in the kitchen at 3:30 a.m. just staring at the microwave. She didn't even remember it. In the morning I wear the mask to stop it, she said. Stop what? I asked. She looked at me and whispered, the eyes, they wait for me when I sleep. One evening, she forgot the mask at work. She panic. It's fine, I told her. Just sleep without it tonight, but she refused. She actually drove back to her office at 11 p.m. just to get it. When she returned, she was pale, said the office was locked, but the mask was on her desk chair waiting for her. She didn't for the rest of the night. A few days later, I came home from work early. She wasn't there. Her door was open, the curtains were closed, and the sleep mask was lying on the bed. I don't know why I touched it. Curiosity. Maybe it felt damp. Almost like something had been crying inside it. Then I held it up to the light, and I swear on everything, 2 human eyes blinked from inside the mask. Real eyes, wet, red, looking straight at me. I dropped it. It hit the floor with a sickening squish. When Mia came home, she saw me standing by her door. What did you touch? She asked. 2 just looked at it. She backed away, shaking, then she screamed, now, they know your face. That night, I couldn't sleep, not because of the mask, echoes of what came after. I saw something in the mirror. Not behind mine, inside the mirror. My reflection blinked out of sync, and then my own eyes started itching. I woke up the next day with red streaks around my eyelids. My reflection didn't match. One blinked when the other didn't. I couldn't explain it. Mia sat me down, told me the story years ago. She joined a sleep experiment in college, lucid dreaming research. She was wired to a machine and told to focus on staying aware while asleep. The first night went fine, but on the second night she fell into a dream where she wasn't alone. Dozens of shadow-like people stared at her from all sides. None had mouths, just eyes open. Always watching, they spoke without words, only blinking in strange patterns. When she woke up, her eyes were bleeding, and something followed her back. They still visit her in dreams, still try to crawl inside. She wears the mask to trap them, to keep them out of her head, but when I picked it up, I let one loose. Since that day I've started seeing things, reflections that don't match, walls that blink, faces in puddles. Every time I close my eyes, I see the blinking again. Last night I dreamt I was tied to a chair. Dozens of people stood around me, but no mouths, no voices, only their eyelids moved. Then Mia appeared. She wasn't Mia anymore. She placed the sleep mask over my face. Now it's your turn, she whispered, and I saw it from the inside. What? The mask sees what it holds. I woke up screaming, blood on my pillow, and the sleep mask was on my face. I never put it on. Mia was gone, no trace. Her room empty, but the mask, it was warm, still blinking. If someone you know wears a mask to sleep, don't touch it, don't move it. Don't even look inside, because some eyes aren't human, some don't close, and some are still looking for a new home. It started with the scratching. At first I thought it was rats in the walls, maybe the plumbing, but it only happened at night, always around 300 a.m. The same scratching light, slow like a nail across the wood. Then came the dreams, a black hallway, a red door at the end, something knocking from inside. Every night I had that same dream, until I stopped dreaming at all. I'd just wake up gasping cold sweat, dripping, the red door still etched in my mind. That's when my friend Maya told me about salt. Circles. She wasn't joking, salt protects, but it has to be pure, unbroken, she warned. Break the circle, and the barrier breaks too. I didn't take it seriously. But that night I poured a thin line of salt across my bedroom door just for fun, then around my bed. Then finally I stood inside the circle and said aloud, "Nothing evil may enter this space," and for the first time in weeks, I slept peacefully. No dreams, no scratching. It worked. So I did it again the next night, and the next. The silence felt heavier but peaceful, like being in a sealed room with nothing outside. But on the fourth night something went wrong. Ivy just finished the circle and turned off the lights, but I left the window cracked open. It was windy. At around 307 a.m. I woke up to a faint crunch. The salt had shifted. A small gust had blown just enough away to leave a tiny gap in the circle by the window, and that's when I saw it. A shadow, tall, thin, standing just past the line of salt. It didn't move, didn't breathe, it just waited. I stared for what felt like hours, then it slowly began to step forward through the broken salt. I couldn't scream, my throat locked, my chest frozen. It walked over, crouched beside my bed, and whispered, "You left the door open." I passed out. When I woke up, it was daylight, no sign of the shadow, but the salt line was fully broken, not blown, wiped clean, like by fingers. And outside the window, just on the ledge, lay a single grain of salt-soaked red. I spent the whole day trying to tell myself it was sleep paralysis, maybe a dream, but when I looked in the mirror that night, my reflection didn't match. It moved slower, it smiled when I didn't. I repowered the salt. Thicker this time, closed every window, double-checked every line. I didn't sleep at all that night. Instead, I stared at my reflection for hours, and it stared back, amused, mocking. I called Maya, told her everything. She didn't speak for a moment. Then she asked quietly, "Did it speak to you?" I nodded, though she couldn't see me then. "You didn't keep it out. You invited it in. Now things keep getting worse. Every time I sleep, I dream in someone else's voice. My door unlocks itself at 300 a.m. Salt I pour at night is gone by morning. And worst of all, sometimes I see myself just for a second standing outside the window smiling. I can't go outside anymore." Maya tried visiting. She said I didn't answer the door, but I did, or I thought I did. She came in and stared at me, then slowly backed away. "You're not him," she whispered, and ran. It's been 3 days, I haven't left the circle in my room. I keep pouring salt every hour, but I can feel it weakening. There's laughter now low inside the walls, and every reflection in the TV, the kettle, the doorknob, smiles when I'm afraid. If you're reading this, hear me, never break the circle. Never let wind, time, or doubt let you ignore that one simple rule. Because once it's broken, it doesn't just come in, it replaces you, and no one will even know the difference. She never skipped a night, no matter how tired, how late, or how sick she was. Ava always lit 3 incense sticks before bed. It was a ritual passed down from her grandmother, one that came with few but strict rules: always light all 3 before midnight. Never blow them out, let them burn naturally. If one doesn't light, do not sleep in that room. Her grandmother used to say the smoke from each stick had a purpose. One to cleanse, one to shield, and one to ward away what doesn't belong. Ava didn't believe in spirits, but she respected tradition, and honestly she slept better when she followed it. It was a cold Thursday night in early November when it first happened. She struck the match like always, lit the 3 sticks in the brass holder near her bed and watched the curls of fragrant smoke rise. She turned off the light, crawled into bed, pulled the blankets over her shoulders. Then she noticed the smell. The scent of sandalwood was strong as usual, but something was missing. It felt lighter. Unbalanced, she turned on her phone flashlight and looked at the incense. 2 of them had burned down halfway. The third was still whole, blackened tip, but untouched. No smoke, no glow, just dead. She tried lighting it again. The flame caught, then died. Instantly she tried a second match, same result. On the 3rd attempt, the match itself snapped in her fingers. A shiver ran through her, not fear, just unease. She remembered her grandmother's words, if one doesn't burn, the room has already been claimed. Ava told herself it was nothing, maybe bad incense, humidity, cheap matches. She left the window slightly open, turned the fan on low, and fell asleep with her back to the incense holder, but she didn't sleep long. At exactly 3:11 a.m., something whispered her name, not loudly, not from a dream. It was right behind her ear. She turned over, heart hammering, no one there. But the incense, it had turned to white ash, all 3, even the one that didn't burn before. But that 3rd pile was different. Ashes weren't soft and flaky, they were charcoal black, wet, sticky like blood and soot. The next morning, Ava checked the incense packet. Nothing wrong. She burned 3 again before leaving for work. All 3 burned fine, but the next night, it happened again. Only 2 burned, and this time she heard something breathe beside her closet. Over the next week things worsened. She started waking up with the scent of smoke in her mouth. Doors she closed would be opened by morning, and she began dreaming of a figure standing in the corner of her room, its head bowed, hands clasped as if in prayer, but whispering something backwards. She recorded herself one night. At exactly 3:11 a.m., her recording caught the sound of crackling fire, then footsteps, then her own voice whispering, let the 3rd remain still. She had no memory of speaking, no burns, no fire. But the incense holder had moved from the nightstand to the floor, and only 2 sticks had burned again. Desperate, she visited her grandmother's sister, an old woman who still lived by the mountains. When Ava explained what was happening, the old woman grew pale. You didn't follow the real rule, she said. Ava frowned. There was another. If the 3rd doesn't burn, you leave the house. You do not sleep there again for 3 nights, because it's not the incense that's blocked, it's you. She begged her to help. The old woman gave her a vial of crushed sage salt, and something she wouldn't name. Burn this with the incense. All 3 together. If the 3rd still resists, don't stay, don't talk, and whatever you don't answer if it calls you by name again. Ava returned that night and did exactly as told. She emptied the vial onto the 3 sticks, lit all of them. They glowed for a moment, then to burn strong. The 3rd fizzled and died suddenly. The lights flickered, the air went cold, and from behind her bedroom door, a voice whispered, Ava, I'm still waiting. But this time it didn't sound human. She ran, didn't even grab her phone, just left, drove all the way to a friend's place, and stayed for 3 days. Each night, she lit 3 incense sticks in a new holder. All 3 burned. No whispers, no footsteps. She returned home on the 4th day. The house was silent, but in her bedroom the incense holder sat upright on her pillow with 1 unburned stick still in it, and beside it was a note written, In Ash, only 2 were needed, the third was already home now. Ava never lights incense again, she never burns anything in her room, and every night, no matter where she is, she leaves a lamp on beside her bed, because the moment darkness falls, she still smells that third stick, and something in the shadows waits for her to finish the ritual. I started keeping a sleep diary for therapy. Dr. Kayla said it would help me understand why I wasn't sleeping well. Nightmares, sudden wake-ups, blank memories. Simple rule: right before you sleep, write again when you wake up, even if it's nonsense. I bought a black leather journal from a small shop near the university, handmade with yellowed pages and no branding. It felt old, but I liked that. Gave it a bit of mystery. The first few weeks were normal. I dreamed I was falling, couldn't move, but heard whispering, same hallway, dream again, harmless stuff, until one entry wasn't mine. I still remember the date, October 11th, I woke up groggy like I hadn't slept at all. Reaching for the diary, I noticed it had already been written and the ink was darker than mine, the handwriting long, sharp, not mine. The words read. I opened the door again. This time, the boy didn't scream, he just stared as I stepped through. Thanks for letting me in. I stared at it, heart pounding. I lived alone, no one else had keys, no visitors. I tried laughing it off, sleepwalking, maybe automatic writing. But I never wrote that dream, and I never dreamt about a boy or a door. I ripped the page out, threw it in the trash, didn't tell anyone, but the next morning, a new entry. Same dark ink, same jagged handwriting. You tore out the memory, but it still happened. I stopped writing, locked the book in my drawer. That night, I had a dream. But this time I wasn't myself. I was a man in a dark coat walking through a foggy field. There was a child ahead of me humming. When I reached out, he turned. His face was blurry like smoke. I asked, "Where am I?" He whispered, "Inside someone else." I woke up sweating, went straight to the drawer. The diary was on my desk, wide open, 2 pages. Filled one with my dream word for word, the other not mine. Took longer this time, but your body's soft now. Easy to wear. I packed the diary in a shoebox, taped it shut, and dropped it off at the city dump. Problem solved. Right, wrong. The next night, I found a new diary on my nightstand. Same leather cover, same yellowed pages, blank until I touched it. Then one line appeared at the bottom of the first page. You can't throw away what's inside. I started losing time. Hours vanished. My phone showed texts I didn't send my friends. Said ID. Been acting strange, cold, distant, saying weird things, like haze, almost ready. I didn't remember any of it. So I set up a camera, filmed myself sleeping that night. I saw it at 2:41 a.m. I sat up fully awake, but not myself. I walked to the desk, opened the new diary, and began writing. But I wasn't just writing, I was smiling, not a tired smile, a cruel, satisfied grin, and I whispered something. Rewinding the video, I turned up the volume. It was my voice, but not quite. Hell, forget again. Until the last page I visited. Dr. Kayla told her everything. She tried to reassure me: stress, sleep disorders, dissociation. But when I showed her the diary, she went quiet. She didn't even touch it. I know this design, she finally said. There was a case 10 years ago. A patient claimed her dreams were being recorded against her will. I asked what happened. She just said she stopped sleeping. Eventually her body stopped needing to. That night I burned the new diary in my bathtub. Watched it curl, blacken, and finally turn to ash. Relieved, I fell asleep on the couch. But when I woke up, there was ash on my pillow. And a message written on the wall, not with ink, but scratched into the plaster: dreams don't burn and I'm almost done. Writing UI don't keep diaries anymore, but I still find entries on napkins, on the bathroom mirror, on my forearm, always in that same dark ink. Last night I woke up with a pen in my hand, the words in my own handwriting. Tonight is your last chapter. After that, I get the rest of the book. I haven't slept since, but I feel it creeping in when I blink. Because even if I burn every page, I've already been written. It started like a joke, a prank dare at a sleepover. Put a tooth under your pillow, and if it's not yours, something comes for it. We laughed, we tried it. We didn't laugh the next morning because someone was dead, and the tooth, it was gone. It happened during a stormy weekend at Luke's farmhouse. 7 of us college friends, just out for fun. Old house, no cell signal, thunder outside. Everything perfect for scary stories and dumb dares. We stayed up late playing games and scaring each other until Mila, always the one with creepy facts, said, "Did you know the tooth fairy has older stories, not sweet ones?" In some countries they say if you place someone else's tooth under your pillow, she doesn't bring coins, she takes something back. We laughed. Rolled our eyes, sounded like something from a bad podcast, but then Luke, half drunk, said, "Let's test it." He pulled out a plastic bag from his dad's garage where he stored random hunting gear, and for some reason, animal teeth. He tossed one to each of us. "I bet none of you will do it," he teased. "Put it under your pillow, keep it there all night." We laughed, joked about it, but in the end 5 of us did it, just to prove we weren't scared. It was a deer tooth, flat and brownish. I slipped mine under the pillow before bed, not thinking twice. At 3:33 a.m., I woke up, not because of thunder, not because of a dream, but because I felt someone sitting on the bed. I was frozen, couldn't move, barely breathed. From the edge of my vision I saw a figure, not tall, child-sized, but wrong. Her skin was pale like candle wax. She had too many teeth, rows of tiny white teeth, inside a stretched smile. No eyes, only hollow dark pits, and long fingers brushing my pillow. She picked something up, sniffed it, then turned her head toward me. Even though she had no eyes, I knew she saw me, and then she whispered in a voice like grinding glass, "Wrong tooth, wrong sleep." She vanished. I shot out of bed, heart racing. The pillow was cold, the tooth was gone. In the hallway, I saw Mila and 2 others already awake, pale, scared. Before we could speak, we heard it, a scream from Luke's room. We ran. He was on the floor, face pale, blank eyes staring at the ceiling. His mouth was wide open, too wide, and inside no teeth, not a single one, just blood. No sign of struggle, no bruises, just every single tooth gone, as if plucked clean. We called the police from the landline. The storm had knocked out the roads. They said they'd send help the next morning. We waited, shocked, unable to sleep. Mila couldn't stop shaking. She said, "Wrong sleep, wrong tooth. That means it wasn't random. It was Luke." We all started blaming each other. Maybe someone switched his pillow, maybe he faked it all, maybe it was a sick prank. Then Emma checked under her pillow. Her tooth was still there, so was mine, but Mila, hers was gone too, and on her bedsheet a smear of blood. We checked her mouth, no missing teeth, but under her shirt, across her spine, were tiny bite marks, almost like a mouth had tried to chew through her back. But from inside. We left the house at dawn. Police found Luke's body, ruling unknown cause. No one believed our story, but we knew. We thought it was over until 2 weeks later I found a new tooth under my pillow, old, dirty. Not mine. Then I got a text from Emma. Got a tooth on my nightstand, I didn't put it there. Mila stopped replying altogether. Her brother posted a message online saying she was in a psychiatric hospital, refusing to sleep, always mumbling she took Luke. She bit into my dreams, and she's still chewing. I've tried burning the tooth, burying it, throwing it into a lake. It always comes back, sometimes in my mailbox, sometimes in my shoe, once inside my cereal box. Last night I woke up choking. I coughed hard. Something fell out of my mouth. It was a tooth, not mine. It was too long, too sharp, and on my pillow, a note written in red ink. 1 tooth, 1 death, 7 dared, 6 remain. And not putting it under the pillow, but in not sleeping either, because she doesn't wait for night anymore. She just waits for open mouths. Every night, I follow the same rules. Salt by the door. Don't open the curtains. Never answer whispers. They're written on the wall. I follow them blindly. But each morning, one rule disappears. And when I forget something, comes closer, I don't remember how. It started, all I know is if I forget the last rule, I won't wake up at all. It started with 13 rules written in red on the bedroom wall. I don't remember who wrote them. Maybe me, maybe someone before me. All I know is they're real, deadly real. The first night was normal. Rain tapped on the windows. The air smelled like dust and lavender, and in the dim glow of the nightlight I saw the list. Painted across the wall beside the bed. Rules for survival. Red nightly lock. The bedroom door salt. The threshold, turn on the nightlight. Never look in the mirror after 1200 a.m. Don't leave your feet uncovered. Don't answer if someone knocks more than twice. Close the closet fully, not a crack. Never leave a window open if the curtains flutter. Move if you hear whispering. Hum back if the nightlight flickers. Close your eyes. Never say your name out loud. Never forget the rules. The handwriting was mine, but I had no memory of writing them. Still, I followed every rule that night. I slept soundly. The next morning I noticed something strange. Rule 4 was missing, not faded, gone. As if erased with purpose in its place, the wall was blank. I tried to remember what was there. Something about mirrors, I couldn't be sure. That night I went to brush my teeth, walked past the hallway mirror, and for a split second, I saw something that wasn't me. Same face, different expression. It smiled. I didn't. When I blinked, it was gone. Back in my room. I locked the door, salted the entrance, checked the list. Still only 12 rules now, but I followed them all, or all I could remember. Every night, another rule vanished, and every morning, I remembered less by the 4th night. I couldn't remember why I feared open windows until I left one slightly ajar and found long muddy footprints inside my room. They stopped at the bed and vanished. I started writing the rules in a notebook, but by morning the ink bled into the page, unreadable. Like the rules didn't want to be recorded anywhere else. Night 7, only 6 rules left. I forgot to close the closet. I heard breathing, not mine, shallow, raspy, hungry. When I finally opened the door, nothing was inside, but my shoes were wet, like something had walked out and come back in. Night 8, just 5 rules. One of them was hum. If you hear whispering, I forgot to hum. The whisper came from under my bed. It called my name, not once but twice, then a pause. Then a third time, but this one was said in my own voice. That night the nightlight flickered and I made a mistake. I looked. There was something in the corner of the room, standing, watching, mimicking my breathing. But a half second behind. Night 9, only 3 rules remained. I tried to remember the first one. Was it the salt, the door lock? I couldn't tell. The list on the wall only showed blank lines, no ink, no writing, just deep scratch marks in the wall. That night I didn't sleep. I sat upright, eyes wide, waiting. I heard movement in the walls. A soft knock twice, then silence. I didn't answer. I remembered that one, but then the closet creaked open by itself, just a crack, and something whispered, "You're doing well, but forgetting is part of the plan." Night 10, just 1 rule left, and it was barely legible. Never forget the rules. I don't remember any of them now. Not really, only The fear, only the shapes in the dark, the flicker in the mirror, the whisper beneath the floorboards, they come closer with each forgotten line. Tonight I saw myself sleeping, I was outside my body looking down at me, and I realized I'm not alone in here anymore. Someone else is waiting for the last rule to vanish, because once it's gone, they want me to wait. I carved the final rule into my skin. Deep bleeding so I don't forget, but even now the words are fading from my memory and I'm starting to feel like the rules were never mine to follow. If you find this story, write your own rules tonight. And whatever you do, don't forget to remember. Lavender oil helps you sleep, at least that's what they say. But when she started using it every night, things changed. She slept deeper, too deep. And something else started waking up now. Her voice changes when the scent hits the air she stares at. Corners that whisper back, and her skin smells like lavender, even when she hasn't touched the bottle. This isn't just a scent. It's a door. It all started when Nora moved into the cottage shed, been struggling with insomnia, long days racing thoughts, and nights filled with tossing and turning. So when her aunt gifted her an old glass bottle of lavender essential oil, she welcomed it like a miracle. Just rub it on your temples before bed, her aunt said. It's old hand-blended, stronger than the ones you get in stores. The bottle was beautiful, dark, violet glass, sealed with a wooden cork. No brand, no label, just a tiny symbol carved into the side. A circle with 3 dots inside. Nora didn't think twice. The first night she used it, she slept like the dead. No dreams, no movement, just black, heavy, deep rest. She woke up refreshed, but confused, the clock said. 11:11 a.m. Shed slept nearly 12 hours, still it felt good, so she did it again. And again every night. By the 5th night, things started shifting. She woke up to find the bottle uncorked. Even though Shed sealed it tightly, she began to hear faint chimes before falling asleep, like wind bells, even when the windows were closed. And every morning the lavender scent was stronger, as if it had soaked into her skin. Soon she started talking in her sleep, at first mumbling, then full sentences, then in a language that didn't sound like any human tongue. Her neighbor Sophie mentioned it casually, heard you talking to someone around too. Am sounded ancient, rhythmic. Are you okay? Nora laughed it off, but she was beginning to feel it too. Something was sharing her dreams. She tried skipping a night. No lavender oil that night. She didn't sleep. Her body lay flat, eyes closed, but her mind stayed awake, frozen, and she saw her body rise on its own, move toward the mirror and smile. She couldn't scream, she couldn't move, just watch. She started recording herself, audio only, because the camera on her phone would turn off randomly when placed on her nightstand. The recordings were worse, whispers, scratching, breathing that didn't match her own. And at one point, a voice not hers said, "I like this one," desperate. Nora took the bottle to a herbal shop in town. The owner, an older woman with tired eyes, went pale when she saw the symbol. "Where did you get this?" she whispered. Nora explained. The woman pulled out a dusty book and flipped pages. She stopped at an illustration, the same circle, same dots. "It's not lavender," the woman said. "It's Ladonis, an extinct variant used by ancient priestesses to summon sleep spirits. Possessive ones. You're saying it invites something. It doesn't invite, it feeds." Nora tried burning the bottle. The flames turned blue, then hissed. The oil never evaporated. She buried it. It returned to her drawer. The next morning, she stopped using it. The headaches came back, the insomnia. Then the dreams worse. Now the scent still lingered in her hair, her clothes, her breath. One night she woke up, and her reflection didn't blink. A friend stayed over, worried about her that night. Nora slept soundly, but her friend vanished. The only thing left was the lavender scent on her pillow and strands of someone else's hair on the sheets she begged a priest to. Bless the house, he stepped in the room, sniffed the air, and collapsed when he came to. He said, "There's no house here. Only a chamber, a chamber." She asked for things that want to wear your body like clothing. She doesn't use the oil anymore, but it doesn't matter, her veins pulse purple in the moonlight. She speaks in that other tongue when she's half awake, and at 3:33 a.m., the windows open by themselves. The wind smells like lavender, and her smile, it's not hers anymore. She's still in that cottage, writing things she doesn't remember, laughing at empty rooms, burning sage that does nothing. And when you ask her if she remembers who she is, she tilts her head and says, "You mean which one?" If you ever smell lavender out of nowhere, don't follow it. Don't breathe deep, don't sleep that night, because she's looking for someone new, and the scent, it always gets there first. It was supposed to be a simple ritual. We didn't mean to summon anything. It was just for fun, a dare, a stupid game we found in a dusty Reddit thread titled, "Do You Dare Face the Watcher?" There were 3 of us, me, Maya, and Darius. We were bored teenagers. Curious, brave, stupid, the ritual instructions were clear. Draw a circle of ash. Place a single white candle in the center. Everyone must sit cross-legged around the candle. The room must be silent. Dark, stare at the flame. Do not blink, no matter what. You see, don't break eye contact. We laughed at the last part, Darius said. So basically a staring contest with a candle, but Maya's face stayed serious. It says the watcher lives between blinks. If you close your eyes, he finds a way, and we mocked the idea, of course, but something about it stuck. We did it anyway. We waited until midnight in my basement. No windows, just one weak bulb above. We followed everything perfectly. Circle check, candle check, darkness check. Then we sat staring. Seconds passed. Then minutes, nothing, just the flicker of the candle, and our awkward giggles. Then the air changed, thick still, like the air stopped moving altogether. The shadows on the walls began to stretch. Not flicker, not sway, stretch, long arms, tall shapes, no. One moved, no one spoke. Then Maya gasped. "Don't blink," she whispered. I felt a pressure behind my eyes, a dryness, they burned. Every part of me wanted to blink, just once, but the rule don't blink, so I didn't. But Darius did. It was quick, one blink, barely. A second he groaned and clutched his head, then went silent. His body was still sitting upright, eyes wide, breathing normal, but his mouth opened, and something else spoke, just one word. Cold, hollow, like 1,000 insects buzzing together. We jumped up, breaking the circle. The candle went out instantly. The shadows vanished, and Darius blinked again. Normal now, confused. What happened? We didn't know what to say. Nothing seemed wrong. We left, nervous but laughing it off. But that night I dreamed of eyes, not human eyes. Hundreds of them blinking in rhythm, watching me sleep. I woke up gasping. My eyes burned. My bedroom was filled with the smell of ash. The next day Darius didn't come to school. His mom said he hadn't slept all night. He kept saying his reflection wasn't matching his movements, that blinking felt like letting go. That night he texted me, "Every blink is longer now. I feel like something's slipping in." Then he went missing. They found his phone on the basement floor. The candle had melted into a strange symbol. No one could explain it. Maya was terrified. She begged me to redo the ritual, to close the door. To reverse it. I told her it was a bad idea, but we did it anyway. Same circle, same candle, same instructions. This time just us two. We stared, eyes open, waiting. Seconds passed, then a whisper to Maya, blinked just once, and screamed. I turned to her. Her eyes were black, not dark black, no iris, no white, just void. Then she smiled and said, "It's your turn." I ran. The candle blew out on its own. Since then, I've been alone, but not really. I feel it now during blinks. You know that feeling when you blink too slowly and everything feels like it jumped forward? Like the world shifted slightly. That's him, the watcher. The one who lives between frames, between eyelids. Every mirror in my house is covered. I sleep with my eyes open now, but sometimes they close anyway. And when they do, I lose seconds of my life, then minutes. Yesterday, it was nearly an hour. I'm writing this before I forget, before he blinks me out completely. If you find a ritual that says don't blink, please, don't try it. You'll lose more than sleep. You'll lose the right to ever close your eyes again, because he's always watching, and now so am I. Hello everyone. Please tell me, which city are you listening from? What time is it there? Is everything okay? Or does it feel like someone's watching you? I never believed in ghosts or monsters, not until the night I moved into my new apartment. It was a small place. One bedroom, old carpet, yellow walls, and a creaky ceiling fan that spun slowly, even when it was off. The rent was cheap, and I needed a quiet place to focus on my online classes and part-time job. Everything seemed normal at first, a little dusty, but nothing I couldn't clean. The first night I felt strange as I lay in bed. Something didn't feel right. The air felt heavy. My room was completely dark, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was there watching me. I told myself it was just nerves. First night in a new place, everyone